Hey, how's it going? Oh, oh shoot, my whole deal kind of is, it's not acting right, but that's okay. Stay. All right, so we'll first look at some signs. I wanted, oops, I'm not sure if people realize that I was always writing stuff in the information box after the videos. And then the community tab also has stuff that I put there just I find interesting or inspiring or something like that. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of that. Yeah, so I pulled some cards, but first I want to talk a little bit. Wow, that seems like an extra lot of cards. I think I didn't put away yesterday's. Okay, well, anyway, so, like, this phone that I have, I feel like it has too many features because I'm always touching something and not realizing that I touched it, and I don't know how just picking it up and setting it down I can go through so many functions, like just like they do too many things. And so one of the things that I've noticed that this thing does is if I'm watching something and I happen to be touching the screen, then it'll like speed it up 2 times, or it depends on how long I have my finger or whatever's touching the screen there. So like maybe I'll be going from room to room or something, and I'll have the thing in my hand, and usually like if I'm doing room to room, I have like several things in my hand, and the phone will just be held strangely enough that some part of me is touching the screen, so I'll be going wherever I'm going, and all of a sudden everybody's talking really fast, and I'm like, whoa. And the first couple of times that happened, I was like, what is that? And it only took like 2 times before I realized it's the phone. Only the phone is speeding up. Oh, that's what I thought. So, hold on. There. So, then I started to notice that I wouldn't even necessarily be hearing the phone. Like, the phone might not even be on, or I could be outside, and I just noticed that, like, people talking, like, the sound of stuff happening is feeling speeded up, and that is a very strange sensation, so that sounds like something I need to see a doctor about. Oh, and speaking of that, so I discovered something about like my sinus, is that a word? Sinus passages that were burning so bad. I had gotten this new essential oil, and I wanted to put it in a little separate diffuser thing from where I usually have my scent oils going, and it was like just to my right, about 3 feet away. And I just switched it up one day and stopped burning that stuff, and the change inside my nose is drastic, and I realized that stuff was burning the crap out of me. So I like it though. I like the scent, but I don't think I should have it that close to me. I think I was getting too big of a dose of it, so that's a relief. I know everyone was just on the edge of their seat waiting to hear about that. And so the other thing was, I'm just gonna try and figure out which day these these are from. What was the other thing? Oh yeah. So I know I've mentioned this before. I've just a lot of like Bible passage stuff has been coming up, and it's talking a lot about like the failures before the floods. Like, I don't know what's up with that subject, but man, is it coming around. And there's one in particular. It's like other things that have been like really insistent. Like, I've watched it and it'll just keep coming up and coming up, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it again. But like I can't get rid of it. It won't go away, and it's really insistent. And I'll be like, okay, fine. I'll just put it on, and just do whatever I'm doing. So it was kind of like that, and then, usually there's. I mean, this is gonna always be the case. I think there's always something to gain out of something, whatever it is, if you just are paying attention. It doesn't necessarily mean it's all magical or spooky or anything like that. But although sometimes I take it that way, and I guess it's just how I feel about it at the moment, kind of thing. Oh, that's right. I think they're all from, oh crap, but they're all out of order. Well, anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of them. Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, I already forgot what I was just talking about. Oh, so the Bible passages, so the ones that keep coming up are totally about like before floods, basically, like what happened when Sodom and Gomorrah fell. Why did it fall? What happened afterward? What were the warnings beforehand? It's like all this like pre-apocalypse stuff. So it's like Noah, I know I've mentioned it, has come up several times, and the story of Enoch, which is not just one, in my opinion, that's not just one story. That's like a story within stories, and it's kind of convoluted, but it's disastery, and there's like Moses stuff, and it's all of this like Revelations, apocalypse stuff, and we generally have kind of, in my opinion, like fearful associations with it, but I'm not so sure if it's to be feared. Like, it's just interesting stuff. And like, this was really strange. This happened today. I came across this Joe Rogan clip, or yeah, it's like a clip on YouTube, and he was talking. I stopped on it because Paul Harvey was in the, what do you call, the title card. And so I grew up, my mom listened to it before work every day. So Paul Harvey, just when I was a kid, like before school, it just has a deep association. And I would listen to him sometimes, like what he was saying, I'd actually pay attention, but not always. Because a lot of times it was like kind of about stuff that I didn't know about, really, like kind of deeper for me as like an elementary school child. But not always, and sometimes I could listen and catch on, and it was interesting and whatever, but it was just like a familiar voice, so I was like, okay, I'll click on that. And what he started talking about was, it was a recording from a radio show, I'm sure, because that's what he did. He was a radio announcer, a news guy, basically. And the subject that he was talking about was what he thought the devil would do to take over the world. And it was like part biblical stuff, because the stuff that he was naming is all named in parts of the Bible, like I was just talking about. Like, that's where you can find them, like in places where I was talking about before I started talking about Paul Harvey. So I was like, that's interesting, isn't it? And a lot of what he was saying about, I should link that. Did I get anything to write on? I have a lot of things to write on back here. Okay. Well, anyway, he just was listing off all the stuff that's actually happening right now, so that was interesting. And that's kind of part of what I've been hearing in those passages that just keep coming up in my feed. So there was one about the flood and Noah that just kept coming around, and it actually had like Moses stuff and Enoch stuff that they talked about it as links, like that just linked the stories together, like the apocalyptic disaster scenarios. And so I finally watched that one that kept popping up, or not. I just had it on as I was just like, doing whatever, and I actually heard it. And I had heard it before, like I said, it keeps coming up, and it'll just come on like autoplay. So I keep hearing different parts of it, but I finally heard it in its entirety again, like after I was primed to listen to it, right? And I still just like, okay, noted. And then after that, this other similar type thing on autoplay, I guess, came on, and it started talking about all of that stuff. And then in the middle of it, it starts talking about Noah and his family on the ark, and a little bit about how like things just came together for Noah to populate the ark with all of the animals from all over the world. Like it talked about how they just synchronistically, the list of animals he needed, like he didn't, because I had always wondered about that actually. I was like, what did he go around in his Flintstone mobile? He didn't have the ark or the flood water to travel the earth on before that. And the thing about that is that I have learned between like Sunday school as a toddler or whatever, and on up, that you hear those Bible stories that I have learned that the cultures existed, like everything that's in the Bible happened before the Bible existed, but stuff happened before the stories that are in the Bible too. Like there's a prehistory to the Bible, and that's it. And it's weird because Bible stuff, prophecies seem to be coming true, but also discoveries about this prehistory stuff that has to do with all of it, by the way. So whatever, I'm listening to that and thinking about all of that stuff there, and it just boom occurred to me in the middle that, like it said, in the midst of all this chaos, Noah and his family, which was like his kids and their families and spouses and all that, so there's like a little village of the Noah clan on this boat, and they got all the animals that just like came to where they were because that needed to happen, so it did. But it just for a second, just a sentence, it just said, in the midst of the chaos of the flood, of the water thrashing and the storming going on inside the ark, it was like nice and homey and cozy, and everybody that loved each other was there. They wanted to be there, and they had done like God's bidding to the best of their abilities and just did what he said. And that's always points in the Bible, like if you just do the will of God, you'll be okay, right? So it was just like, oh wow, it's not just that in that situation of chaos that you can have a calm, loving family life situation. It was like, boom, that's an example of like right now, that's kind of the tack sailing term we should all be taking kind of when it comes to dealing with this chaotic world and all of the stuff. I'm gonna link that Paul Harvey thing because The guy that put it up was like, see the moment when Joe Rogan sees he's exactly what Paul Harvey was talking about. That was why I clicked on it too. And it was worth it. So it's just kind of like it, that has occurred to me before with other Bible stories, that it was like a story about Jesus and Mary Magdalene when they were together. They lived together, they had a home together, they had a garden. It's like this weird Catholic thing where Jesus was like a Ken doll with no organs. But you subsequently learn that there's other sort of anti-ANTE Bible stuff that points to a history of Jesus having a family, and he and Mary having a lineage together, and that also kind of weaves back into the biblical narrative, where somehow, without like the part where they're a family together doing it, I guess, is the big no-no, that it's like, but Jesus' descendants. Well, hello? That's not the same as Jesus' family. That's like siblings and cousins and aunts. No, his family, Jesus' own possessive spelling, phonetic, every whatever, grammar, that's like of his loins, as far as I understand it in the biblical sense. So that's weird. But anyway, in this story, they would go out and sort of, Jesus would talk to the people, and I guess Mary too, because she was like an apostle as well, which that's gaining more acceptance currently, but it was probably known to be the case more at the time, and then somehow in between, well, women bad, so Mary bad, I guess, just to quickly nutshell that. But the thing was is that they would go out in the world and they would speak, and people would argue, and people would condemn her and condemn him, and they were just always doing everything wrong except for loaves and fishes and miracles and healing. And funny how that stuff was in there too, but they're just all, you washed my feet and gave me food, get out here, cuff, now you're, I can't. Is that so different from now though? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that they would go home to their garden, and their garden, the story specifically said that their garden bloomed and flourished where everybody else's was struggling, and it was on the same land and using the same water. That was the message that I got, was like the two of them together created this world that was beautiful and this atmosphere. And to me, that's all about the vibration thing, and that's like, I'm all into that right now, like I always was. Tonal vibration, like I'm drum crazy for some reason lately, but I get it. It's vibrational, and I have talked about it so many times, about like walking into a room and you can sense what's happening. That's what I'm talking about, and that you can learn to adjust. I mean, you can anyway, if you don't think of it all like, ooh, my vibration gonna tune, blah, blah, blah. You change your mood, you change your attitude. It's kind of the same deal. But you can also fine tune it on the level of vibration. And so if you like go out in the world to work and it's a rat race and you can't wait to get home and kick off your heels and rip off your bra and get comfortable and do what you do to relax at home, like that's, you create that atmosphere, like you have that to go home to, and you anticipate it and you look forward to it, and you have made it a nice place to go home to because you got the world on the outside. So I kind of feel like that was the message of, like, even though the Jesus story I heard like years ago, not heard. Nobody told it to me. I saw it somewhere online, but it was just part of sort of somebody's, I don't even remember who now. It was so long ago. I remember I saw this a long time ago, like almost 10 years ago. So I don't remember specifically where I saw it, but it was just somebody relating this story. It wasn't the Bible specifically. It was biblical characters, obviously, but it wasn't like from the Bible. I don't think. The Bible stuff didn't start popping up till lately. I didn't, by the way, I didn't go looking for it. It started showing up in my algorithm. So something I was looking at attracted it, and it's fine. I'm not like, I look at all kinds of other religious stuff. I shouldn't like exclude the Bible, even though maybe me and the Bible have some baggage, or it's hard to put a fine point on it. I'm not sure what I know some things I have a problem with religion, but they weren't specifically my issues. Mine fell more in the physical violence category than the other. Thankfully, I'd like rather get like beat up and spanked than the other. Thank you very much. I got that at home. Yay! So anyway, I just felt like in the middle of that Noah story, it wasn't even a Noah story. It was like a story about basically those end times, and I guess we're like in them according to like prophecies coming true, which those I click on because I'm like, ooh, which ones? And then I'm like, oh shoot, wow, that is happening, isn't it? So that's kind of a mind bender. And then, God, so the Paul Harvey thing got me thinking, and it also got me thinking of like some Jesus stuff about that has come up in all of the stuff that I've been watching. That's kind of like all these warnings about like, are you going to be able to be raptured? And I don't like the way it's all. Some people are going to go and some people are not. In one way, like the way that I grew up hearing it, like if that came out of the Bible, it's all scoldy. But in another way that I've subsequently learned later is that consciousness-wise, everyone's not ready to ascend or be risen up or whatever you want to call it. Because if those things are both true, then one's an old-timey way of describing it and one's more current and more easily accessible for us these days. But if you got both in your head, it's just kind of like, how do I stick those two together and make them work? But so what I was going to say about the Jesus stuff, though, was that there's a lot of warnings about people are going to come and say that they're him, that they're going to take the name of Jesus or try to. And what I've been seeing is a lot of people calling people Jesus. I have yet to hear someone say that I am he. But I guess I'm watching out for that now. So, but the thing is like, you don't want to get sucked into anyone saying that kind of thing. Like, none of that is true as far as anything that Jesus would have said that's been recorded somewhere, that he would be all, yeah, sure, take my name, that's cool. Like, that's not what I remember seeing. Basically, they're like, it's more like, stay the hell away from doing that, and don't get sucked in by the people saying that, because it's not true. It ain't gonna be true, because when I return, and when God returns and everybody raptures or is enlightened and starts floating, it's gonna be unmistakable. Like, it says you're gonna be able to see it. So I get the idea that it's not gonna be a question. You're not gonna have to be told, which is funny because that's a theme I keep thinking of. Because so many, well, there's one person in particular, but many like them, that announce how they're this, that, and the other thing, rather than just showing it by living it and being it, and not having to announce it, not having to tell people that you're strong or that you're rich or that you're anything. Like, that's kind of, people that are that don't need to announce it. So it's themes that just sort of reverberate through all of our world and our life, and they just adapt and change and morph to suit like whatever mind they're coming across, whatever consciousness they have to deal with. And wow, trip out on that. The Matrix, that doesn't even seem like complex enough. Like, it seems like it should have more steps and more extrapolations, and it just, but it is. Like, just take, I was gonna say just take our body, but really just take an organ, and that alone is like a whole universe and galaxy and all kinds of macro, micro, minute, particulate. There's so much in everything. I think I just broke my little brain. So yeah, I did pull cards, or I meant to, and I just kept getting like a million of them. And I pulled like some tarot cards. I'm not sure, from the Lightyear's deck. I'm sure where I got them from. Oh, what are you doing back there? Oh, sorry. So anyway, yeah. And I have just been kind of sticking on 6 because that's been working, but I was doing it. I was shuffling, and like I got kind of stuck on 4, and I guess I got impatient, but I'm just sitting, not getting all like impatient, shuffling fast, but I'm like, come on, where's the next 2 cards I want? And then I got like a million, like half the deck squirted out, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait. So I'm shuffling and shuffling, and that happened a couple of times where like too many came out, and I was like, then they all went on the floor, so I couldn't tell what I was supposed to take or not. So finally I ended up with 7. I was like, fine, I'll take it. And I now don't remember what order. And then later I found another one, and that's terrible. I don't know if that's going to have to do with anything, but I just had a weird association with this 7 of Cups card. And I'm just no longer really... Okay, no, that didn't go there. Sorry, whoops, I don't mean to be spacing out. And anyway, so I ended up with like 8 tarot cards, and they're so mixed up, I'm not even sure what's happening anymore with those. I don't know that I ever did, because I just kind of, I was ready to go like sleep while I was shuffling, so I just wanted to get it done. So I'm not real sure even, like, I remember kind of what I pulled, but what order they were in, I don't know. What the impression I got, I don't remember. And then I pulled also from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, which, you know, I was aiming for 1 card. Somehow I ended up with 4. Sometimes that happens. And then I had 3, but 1 was stuck behind the other one. I didn't find it until I just started to do this. Am I doing on time? Ugh, not good. And I pulled a card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. Just the 1, thank God. That's the deck. This here whale card. Water element, obviously. So, I mean, if it were a tarot deck, the water element points to emotions and feelings. Oh, I know I have a lot of feelings for these guys. Like, from what I've discovered, what I've come across, and it's true for me, I'll just say that. These were amongst the many marine aquatic creatures that we have here on Earth that were apparently deposited here just to like help it be the place that it is. They're just like part of the recipe or something. But they live a really long time, and how can you be dumb? And also, they are just not us. Like, they're just not human. So, everything about the way that we measure them, like their perception and their intelligence, it's interesting, because who do we think we are? I get the feeling that, in a lot of ways, they're like America and Europe. They got it so much more over on us humans because they've been around longer and they just know more and they've just been through more. I mean, they breed, they eventually do perish in that, but they also have the cycle of life, like the other living creatures here, and so well, there's generations of them is what I'm saying, but I think they have the ability to refer to their genetics to remember stuff and in that way retain wisdom. And that's something that I've also come across that apparently is true for us as well. And that's like a quantum thing, like the generational understanding by way of DNA genetics is. And then that's something else that keeps coming up too. It's like all of these things that are like all sciencey and modern keep showing up, and then along with this other stuff that makes me see like, oh wow, maybe that biblical thing they were talking about is totally quantum physics or something. But so okay, here's the thing that I saw, and this was it was on another Stargate show. Which, boom, more stuff. This one is Stargate Universe, but they were explaining an experiment to explain like something that was happening that they didn't understand. And it was this thing where, oh no, I'm getting it all mixed up because similar things happen at the same time. Like I get all these messages in this weird way, but so here was like, I can't even remember now exactly where I saw this, but the experiment was you have some bioorganism, and they took cells from it, and then some of the original organism was in the original place, and then the portions that were excised were moved to a completely other location, like I guess significantly far away. And when something happened to the original bit on one end, the cells that were removed and completely, like removed from the original source material to another location, start reacting the same way, like let's say it was a beef heart, right? Just as an example. And somebody stuck a fork in it, and whatever the reaction of a completely detached from the cow beef heart would have to getting impaled by a fork, the excised sections in the other location reacted as the same exact way as the ones on the original, on the beef heart. Okay, so that is like quantum physics in action right there. And that's, I don't remember exactly how it came up in the Bible stories or something, but it just seems like stuff that we think is so, ooh, wow, we just discovered it, it's our thing. It's like, maybe it's just always been kind of floating around right in front of us, and we haven't really recognized it for what it is, because, like I said, I came across some information that I feel like pretty okay and confident about just believing that these are amongst sea creatures that have been seated here, and they're on a mission of their own. But they, like a lot of animals, that they're not going to school, but they grow up and just know how to migrate, and which trail to take, and which flight path to take, and which stream to swim up and down. And it's not like they're educating their children. Like the fish that lay the salmon that lay the eggs and leave. So they're not imparting education to their offspring. This is genetic stuff, and the reason why the egg can know what the fish that laid it knew is, I feel like, quantum biological physics, I guess. I think I'm kind of in the realm. I'm not a scientist, obviously, of any kind. I don't think I would be mixing disciplines that way if I were. I think that's frowned upon. So, I'm just gonna go through these here cards. First breath, the number 21 card, and the subtitle is Beginner's Mind. And, whoa, oh my God, I never noticed that before. So there's a figure in there, and they have sort of a shamanic makeup thing going on with a half white and a half dark face, like some sort of makeup. But what I just noticed is that the black side, they're doing a movement, this person's body. So the black side of their face and the black sleeve, it's like a Bob Mackie design. The guy that designed Cher's clothes. And it has let me make sure I'm not just totally making that up. Oh, I guess it's just one whole black top. But there's a big white, I'll show you. But anyway, she's going like this. So it looked like with the dark side of the face and the white side of the face, I thought I was seeing a dark, I don't know which is yin and which is yang or yang or whatever, but one black sort of a paisley shape, and then the other arm was doing it the other way. I just thought it was a yin yang type thing, but it could be confusing because where's it? See what I'm talking about? Her arm is going up, and there's her hand up above her head. And then here's the other arm down here doing the same motion. So there's a big white, almost like part of the yin-yang symbol over here. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but because now that I deconstructed it, it's it probably doesn't look like that to anybody. But, yes, she's got this big plume of white mist or smoke or something that was kind of obscuring things. And like I said, I had to make sure I wasn't just dreaming it up. So I wasn't just dreaming it up, but a lot. I don't think I talked enough about this. So, the yin yang and the paisleys that remind me of the black and white of that yin yang shape in the circle. It also reminds me of cellular stuff, or even genetic material, like I was just talking about. But I think what I'm getting from this is that when you have the beginner's mind and you're taking your first breath as the new person with a new understanding, I think that's what that is about. That quantum physics stuff and all those associations I made, I didn't know all of that 10 years ago, or if I did, I didn't know how to articulate it. I most certainly would not have thought, oh, it's physics. I would not have gone there all on my own. So, we're like, we have like the opportunity to see things in a new way, like to have a new beginning. And there's lots of new beginnings to take advantage of, like just there for the taking. If you can see that, if you are receptive to that type of thing, if you're into that kind of thing. And I also pulled a number 9 card, dances on one foot, balancing act. And that's kind of what I was just talking about. Like, we're kind of fragile, we're new, we're taking our first breath, having a new beginning. And so, like, we have just molted into this new creature, and we're still soft and, like, vulnerable to harsher forces. So we're, like, you know, dancing on one foot back and forth, you know, sort of getting our bearings, learning how to function in this new form, and just sort of scoping things out, doing our balancing act while we learn how to do our first breath and new beginning. And so, freshly molted, new flight. This is Sky Dancer card, the number 48, and the subtitle is Surrender. So, I mean, really, you've taken on a whole new being in a way, or you have the opportunity to, and if you so choose, then it could be overwhelming. Like maybe you're letting go of like old ways of thinking, and like even the remembering of it is not, it's like maybe it makes you feel good, but it's not like, it's not going to inform you really going forward. You are a whole new being, and I mean, that could fully affect your way of being, like your way of life. You have the power to influence that. Like, you manifest what you seek, you will attract. So what you'll manifest both what you want and what you need. And it can be overwhelming, and not knowing what's going to happen can be a little frightening, but you kind of have to do a trust fall and surrender to like oncoming events, because really otherwise you just make it kind of hard for yourself, right? And you don't want to do that. I mean, you got all of this brand new like expectation, or unwritten really, like all you can expect is that you don't know, and you can hope for the best and be positive and just surrender to that new beginning, and just, you know, trust and believe that it's all going to work out well for you, and don't bring in negative crap for yourself. But also, you know, other people may not be experiencing what you are experiencing. Like, it may just continue to be a harsh and confusing world that doesn't make sense. And the thing about that is that surrender also comes into play there too, if you want relief, because don't fight it. Don't fight, like, you know, your new beginning. You want to have an easy birth. You want to have an easy outcome. Or, you know, that's not to say that things are not going to happen, even things that we will immediately deem as negative. They not necessarily that. It's just that it's new. Like, you know, maybe you heard some things about it, or maybe what you're hearing is meant to like make you all tangled up and confused and doubt yourself and fearful, because I mean, everybody's not always looking out for your best interest. And if you are, though, and something happens, then you're sort of better equipped to deal with it. Like, just go ahead and relax into it, surrender to it as well, even if it's like, well, this is bad, but like, don't make it more bad by fighting it. Just like, everything has like a start and a conclusion. Like, eventually you're gonna go through it, and there's, like I said, there's always something to be gained, even from the unpleasantness. You just have to. This guy was the last one I found, number 8, that was hiding under my chair. I looked. I moved all the way out. I moved out of the way completely. I didn't see a card, and then, I don't know, a couple of hours later, I step on it. I'm like, is that a card? And sure enough, and do you think I had looked there? Yes, I had looked a million times. So this guy just came out when he felt good and ready. And the thing that I was tripping out on earlier, because I looked at him and I just thought of that, I've totally seen this card a million times. And today I was like, oh God, it's that guy that sings for AC/DC. And that's an inside joke for me, but here's the punchline. I was thinking earlier that they were like, that music is like scalpels in my ear. Oh, I know why, because actually it wasn't about the singer guy, Brian something. It was about Angus Young, the guitar player, and it said he used no pedals. And I'm like, yeah, he uses scalpels. Sorry. I understand, and this is why it's really funny. I'm not the only woman that just don't like AC/DC. And for me, it's not about whatever he's saying, although I ignore that because all of them have always been gross. Sorry, sidetrack. Anyway, moving on to my last card. Have some compassion. The card is Heart Home, the number 27 card, and the subtitle is Compassion. I think that is like the universal concept. I like definitely have it for other people, definitely have it for yourself. I've been getting some serious lessons in compassion this lifetime. Like I've talked about the thing where I've laughed at somebody else's name getting used when someone got arrested. They didn't use their own name, but they used someone else's. Well, I got to find out that happened to me, and I can't help but look back and think, that's got to be because I laughed. Even though I felt bad immediately because, I mean, it's hard to explain. Like, I shouldn't have even laughed at it, but I did, and I might still get a chuckle out of it today, mainly because I know that it didn't cause the person, like, real harm, but, like, if it caused them any harm at all, it's not good, because it's just in a form that no one wants. Like, you just don't want to have that. So I didn't, but I became aware of it, and I apparently showed up and was showed away from the premises because they were, I don't know if the place was under surveillance or if they were expecting police to pop in, but someone in my family got arrested and used my name, and at that moment, and this was years ago, this didn't happen recently, but at the moment, I was like, oh, well, that, like, like it all hit me, it all came down like a ton of bricks, that I had laughed, and I was like, I understood the seriousness at the time, but, like, I was older than I was at that first introduction to such a thing. And so I had more compassion for that other person in the situation definitely had more compassion for myself. Like, please don't fail me now. But I didn't know it in the moment, though. In the moment, I just knew I was getting hustled away, and I was like, okay, I'll go. Feel like that about it. I didn't find out until later why. But I can laugh about it today, about my situation. And the other thing that I learned is that, and I did it today too, is I have a terrible habit, not out loud, but I have thoughts about people's hairlines. And usually it's men, because usually they're the ones with the most obvious hairline or hair loss issues. But it's not just men. It can be women too. It can be children sometimes. And there's all kinds of different reasons for it to happen. And it is maybe not ironic that I ended up with like a hair loss situation that no one's saying that there's a recovery from, unfortunately. I'm not going to just give up, because I believe in miracles. I'm not joking. So you think I must need to learn some more, because listen to me, it's compassion. I need to learn some more, because like I said, even just earlier today, I was looking at somebody's head and going, ha ha ha, whatever I was saying, I'm not going to repeat it. It was like, and I caught myself. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know if you've been looking or paying attention, but like, every time I like take a shower, whether I actually like wash and condition my hair or not, if I just get in there and get it wet, I lose a bunch of hair. If I brush out the tangles from my hair like I do before I do this every time, because yeah, it was all fuzzy and tangled before, and I clean out that brush, a bunch of more hair came out, and that's been happening. Wow, it sure accelerated recently. I've always had like a bunch of hair come out, never thought anything of it because I always had a huge, unmanageable mass of hair, but boy, in the past 6 months, it has dwindled to a trickle. My hair is not liquid and it's not moving, but it's moving out of my scalp. It's moving away to new drains and trash receptacles everywhere. And I'm waiting for it to do whatever it's gonna do, because I don't know. Am I gonna have to start wearing a hat like Meg, or I'm not wearing wigs? Then I have to buy them. Like, I could like crochet myself a little hat, and I have some hats, but I mean, I don't know. Like, what is my hair even gonna do? I don't know what it's gonna look like before the end comes of whatever it's doing. So as I'm watching I guess my own hair's destruction, I have to work on my compassion, and that's, I mean, obviously there's more ways and things to be compassionate about, but it looks like an area that I need to work on has identified itself. And so I suspect I'm not the only one that might have a slight deficit in this area. And although I don't like to say that I'm telling anyone what to do, I would suggest that if you could, if you feel like you could be more compassionate, and you care about it, and you care to be more compassionate, I would make the suggestion that you, I don't know. I mean, if you are inspired to be more compassionate, or if you just wanted to anyway, or you just want to be compassionate in general, I don't think it's ever wrong like, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to enhance that particular quality in yourself as a human person, because there's a lot of it, I feel like, in deficit for various reasons with people, and I'm not about to try and judge anybody on that, because the reasons why a person might not care about others, a group, individual, whatever it is, you know what? There's a reason for that, I bet, and it's not just as simple as, well, they're just blah, 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 blah thing or person. I do not like it when people say, you should just, or they're just. Just that's not a thing. So, I'm not sure that had real direction, this everything I just said, but hopefully there was something of use to somebody somewhere. Anyway, that seems to be all I've got to say. Thank you and good night. There's it.